Today, I will be preparing the Nigeria red stew. I will be using the oxtail, the chicken, and the fish. As you can see here, I have the tomatoes, the bell pepper, the onions, the garlic powder, salt, seasoning, salt. I have onions, the olive oil, and I have the crayfish, the Maggi, and the red pepper with rosemary that I'm going to use to season the meat. So the ingredient that you see here now, I'm going to use some of the ingredients to cook the meat, the oyster and the chicken, and the fish. No, the fish, I'm going to fry the fish separately. So these are the ingredients I'm going to be using in cooking my red stew. The tomatoes, the Maggi cube, the crayfish, the olive oil, the garlic powder, the red pepper, the salt seasoning, the Maggi cube, the onions. That is what I'm going to be using today. Okay, right now I'm about to cook the oxtail, and you can see with the oxtail I added the ingredients. I added onions, the pepper, the garlic, and salt. And I'm going to boil the oxtail for a while. Then I will now add my chicken. You know, the reason why I add my chicken, I need the sauce, the flavor of the chicken to mix with the sauce of the oxtail. That gives the stew a very good taste. So the process I am right now, is cooking the meat first, which is the oxtail. Then I will now add the chicken to it. As you can see, the oxtail is boiling. I'm cooking the oxtail, and I'm going to add the chicken so that the chicken can cook with the oxtail. Now, I have to check it. Okay, I'm going to add the chicken right away. If you can see, I'm adding the chicken with the oxtail. They're going to cook together. Like I said, the flavor, the sauce from the oxtail and the one from the chicken gives the stew a nice taste. So I'm going to allow the chicken and the oyster to cook together. Right now I'm going to be blending the bell pepper, tomatoes together. There, I'm going to be blending the bell pepper and the tomatoes together. I still have to blend the tomatoes and the onions. Right now, I'm going to add the onions. I'm going to add onions and the remaining tomatoes. I'm going to blend them together, and after that, I'm going to steam it in the fire so that I can the onions, the tomatoes can dry up. I want to be able to dry up the water because I don't want to cook my stew with just the grounded tomatoes. For me to get more taste for the red stew, I have to put the blended tomatoes and the onions in the fire so that it can dry up the water. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to grind the tomatoes and the onions together. So I have finished blending the tomatoes and onions, and I'm going to mix it with the one I did before, the tomatoes I did before. I'm going to mix these onions and tomatoes together with it. So the next stage is for me to boil it so that I can, as you can see, the chicken and the oyster is ready, and the next stage is to remove the oyster and the chicken from the cooking pot. They are well cooked, so they are well cooked. I've checked it. How do you know they are cooked? You can see, for you to know, you can see the chicken, you can see the bone is peeling off, the flesh is peeling off from the bone, peeling off from the bone. That's where you know that the chicken is well cooked. And the oyster, how do you know the oyster is well cooked? When you see that the oyster is soft, it's very tender, then you know that the oyster is well cooked. And if you can see the flesh is moving up, peeling out of the bone, that's when you know your oyster and your chicken is well cooked. And I'm going to separate the chicken and the oyster from the water because I'm going to be using this water to cook the rest stew. That's what I'm doing right now. Separating them, taking them from the pot, and I'm going to keep the water I'm going to keep the water separately, and when I'm using it, I'm going to use it for my stew. That will give the stew a very nice taste. So at this moment, I'm going to take the water that I use in cooking the oyster and the chicken from the stove. The next, I'm going to bring my fry pan that I'm going to use to dry up the water from the tomatoes. The reason why I'm doing this because I want the water to be dried up from the tomatoes and the onions. That is when you can get the real taste of the rescue. You don't just use the tomatoes, the blended tomatoes like that. You have to make sure that the water from the tomatoes is dried up. And to make that easy, you don't want the tomatoes to be splashing all over the place. You now add a little oil. You add a little olive oil. I use olive oil to cook because it's very healthy. It's good for your body. The reason why I use olive oil to cook, the reason why I added olive oil to the tomatoes is to minimize the splash. And as you know, olive oil is very good for the body. It has health benefits. So I'm going to be using olive oil to cook my stew. Then the next stage is to cover it. Cover it. And I'm going to allow it to cook for a while. And once I'm going to allow it to cook for a while. Once I see that the water is dry from the tomatoes, then I will remove it from the stove. See, the water is dry. Then I'm going to turn off my stove. See, the water is dry inside the tomatoes, and I'm going to add my tomatoes paste. There's the tomatoes paste. I'm going to add my tomatoes paste and mix it with the onions and tomatoes. You see what I'm doing? I'm going to mix them together. I'm going to mix them together, the paste and the tomatoes. Can you see it? This is how I make my red stew. Make sure that I dry the water inside the onions and tomatoes, and after that I will add my tomatoes paste. So the next stage now is to remove the tomatoes from the stove, put in the pots. I'm going to be using this pot to cook the red stew. So I will I'm going to turn on my stove again, Then I will allow the water inside the pot to dry up. Then remember, I'm going to be using my olive oil. So let me add some olive oil to the one I have before. This is my olive oil. I'm going to add some. See, I've added some olive oil to the one I have before. I'm just going to allow the water to dry up inside the pot. So that is the stage we are. This is the stage we are right now. The stage we are right now is to add the olive oil inside the pot. And I will allow the olive oil to hot a little bit. Then I will now add my sliced onions to it. Okay, I'm going to add my sliced onions. I'm going to add my sliced onions inside the tomatoes, inside the oil. So I'm going to stir it together. I'm going to allow the onions to fry a bit. The moment I see it a little bit brownish, then I will now add the tomatoes. We are almost at the tail end of this cooking. This is how you cook the Nigeria rice stew. Very authentic. You don't rush. Some people, when they are cooking, they rush their rice stew or rice stew. That's why they can't get a taste. So you got to give it time. Anything that worth doing is worth doing well. There is no, you don't rush in life. Life is a process. It takes time. So everything has a process. So if you are eating it, you know where this is recooked food. I'm going to allow it to fry a little bit. And after that, I'm going to add my tomatoes. Just stay tuned. I'm going to add the tomatoes. So I'm going to reduce the heat. When you get to this stage, you got to reduce the heat. If not, you're going to burn your food. Can you see how it looks like? It looks good, huh? They said the taste of the pudding is in the eating. When you taste it, you know what I'm talking about. But I can DHL it to where you are, but just watch and make your own. And please don't fail to drop a comment on my YouTube page. This is how I prepare my authentic Nigeria stew. At this time, I'm going to allow the onions, the fried onions and the tomatoes to mix together, to cook together. Then from there, I'm going to leave it for some minutes. Let me reduce the heat. Let me reduce the heat. I'm going to allow it to fry a little bit, cook with the onion. Then I will now add the rest ingredients. Okay, you see the tomatoes and the fried onions, I can see that they are already mixed together. And what I did was to cook it a little bit. Then there's something I want to draw your attention to. You must make sure that the oil is above the tomatoes and onions before you add your sauce or water on your tomatoes. Get that straight. Take note of that. As you can see my oil is above my tomatoes. You can see the oil there. So that shows that it's ready for the water or the sauce. You see, this is the sauce I'm going to be using, the one from the oyster and the chicken. Then I'm going to pour it inside the tomatoes. And I'm going to stir it together. I'm going to stir it together. And I will allow it to cook with the tomatoes and onions. I'm going to give it a little time to cook. So then I'm going to close it. So I will come back after it has been cooked. Then I'm going to add the chicken and the oyster. At this time, as you can see, the stew is looking good. How do I know? You can see the oil is above the tomatoes now. Can you see? Right, that indication that is ready for you to add the meat. And I'm going to be adding my chicken first. Remember that chicken I cooked with the oyster today? This is the chicken. I'm going to be adding the chicken. Wow. Now I'm hungry. I can't wait to finish cooking this delicious, authentic African stew. Please don't forget again to subscribe on my YouTube channel so that you can be getting updates each time I cook any Africa food. Because Africa is very rich. We have different kind of food. So maybe next time I'll be cooking the okra. So I'm adding the chicken right now. See, I'm adding the chicken in this right now. I'm adding the chicken. And I'm adding the chicken. If you live in Valdosta, Georgia, USA, December, I'll be doing Taste Taster. So watch out for the date and the flyer. I'm going to update you when I'm going to do my Taste Taster. Then you can come and see me live, and you can test my food. So I'm done with the chicken, and I'm going to add the crayfish over it. Just a little crayfish. It gives it that nice flavor too, nice taste. I'm going to mix it with the chicken and the stew. Then I'm going to be adding the oyster. I'm going to be adding the oyster here. It's very rich. It's a rich food, man. See? I forgot I left one chicken. I'm going to add that chicken there. Then, the next stage, I'm going to add a little water. I'm going to add a little water so that that one will give it room to cook very well. I'm going to give it a little water, add a little water. So we're almost done with the cooking of the stew. Red stew. It's called Nigeria Africa red stew. To cover it, always remember to put the heat in the low number so that your food will not get burned. I'm going to leave it a little bit, then I'm going to come back and check it and see if it is ready. Right now, as you can see, the red stew is taking shape. I'm going to add my salt. Now, though I added salt when I was cooking my oxtail and chicken, but I'm going to add a little salt again, just to season it a little bit. All right, I'm going to turn it around and mix with the chicken, the oxtail, and the stew. So I'm going to add my beef flavor bouillon. I'm going to add my beef flavor bouillon. A little bit, not much. Then I'm going to add a little bit of curry. This is my curry powder. I'm going to add a little bit of my curry powder just to give it that little good flavor. Yeah, I'm going to mix everything together. We are almost at the end of this great, authentic Nigeria red stew. So I'm going to allow it to cook, then a little bit, and I will come and finish the conclusion of the cooking. Well, finally, we are at the end of our Nigeria red stew. I call it authentic red stew. See, you can see how it's looking right now. Looking so clean, looking good in the eyes. So I'm gonna just turn it a little bit. This thing is ready to go into the stomach. And the next thing is to get my rice and cook the rice. Then I'm ready to eat the food. This is my authentic Nigeria red stew. Right now, I'm going to be frying the fish. I'll finish cooking the red stew. The next stage is to fry the fish. You know, I like frying my fish to eat my red stew and rice. So I'm going to put a little heat on the fry pan, and the oil, I'm using the olive oil to fry my fish. I'm going to allow it to heat up a little bit. Then I will now add my fish. Okay, it is time for me to add my fish. So you gotta be very careful when you're frying your fish. I told you, be very careful. You have to be very watchful. Okay, I'm frying my fish. Always be careful, and don't go too far from your fish, because if not, they get burned. Okay. I'm going to allow the fish to fry, then I will come back. At this time, you can see my fish is almost done. I'm just gonna give it, let's say, I'm gonna give it at least 1 minute. So I like my fish to fry very well, have this brownish color. Then this is the fish that I'm frying right now. That is going to be the last stage of the cooking. Then I'm going to dish the food on my plate, and I'll now eat. This is my authentic African red stew. After I dish the food on the plate, I'm going to eat it with happiness and with peace of mind. And don't forget to subscribe on my channel. You know, so the fish is done. I'm going to remove it one by one. Can you see? Nice fish. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see? I'm going to allow the oil to drip out of the fish. Can you see? I'm going to turn up the stove now. So the fish, sorry. That's why I said be very careful. You know, when you are frying your fish. Yeah. Can you see? This is the head fish. The head of the fish. The very head. Okay, I have finished with rice stew, the authentic Nigeria rice stew. And with the rice stew, I'm going to be eating it with the jasmine rice. Can you see how the jasmine rice look like? Looks so delicious on the stew. So this is the final product of my cooking. Please don't fail to subscribe on my YouTube page. And when you subscribe, you always get my updates each time I introduce new cooking. You should be able to lay hands on the video. Please, I'm saying again, subscribe on my YouTube page so that you can be getting any updates on my YouTube page. I'm going to eat it right now, and I hope that you try it and don't fail to comment below. Thank you for watching. God bless you.